and FS1. Joy and I have said we're in the TV business, so people come up to Joy and I'll speak for myself here, and say, who do you want to win? Who's your favorite team? I get that a lot. Not listeners, but like random people, they may not watch the show or something. Oh, you do that for a living. Who's your favorite team? And I always say, the biggest tire fire is my favorite team. Give me a star or give me a tire fire. I'm rooting for interesting. I think Joy would share that.
Yes.
We are rooting for interesting.
The content business generally.
Yeah, I have to talk.
That way.
Joy and I have to talk to ourselves for 3 hours a day, 15 hours of just talk. You think we don't like your team. We don't if you're boring. If you're exciting, we love your team. It's up to you to be exciting. This is not a show in which I give everybody access to it or everybody an even shake. I talked more Chiefs, LeBron, Brady, because they're more stimulating. I talked a lot of Favre's Packers and a lot of Rodgers Packers. So this weekend, I think Joy and I believe the best Super Bowl in a perfect world, it would be Rodgers Mahomes.
For interesting.
Well,
for interesting and for, like, the best game.
I think it's the best game.
That one has everything.
Yeah, by that time, Mahomes, you'd think, would be healthier. Then I think Brady Mahomes, the icon and the about-to-be icon, is pretty darn good.
It's great.
The worst-case scenario, and it's really good, is Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. That doesn't feel... Anything with Brady in it's going to feel big. But even that game, I think, of the four, is fantastic.
We can't lose this weekend.
No.
I don't think we know, really know Josh Allen yet.
There have been weekends, championship weekends. A couple years ago, the Jags were in it.
We were nervous. I was nervous last year.
When they led in that game, I was home throwing up. That I would have to talk on a Monday about the Jags and at the time, Blake Bortles.
We were nervous last year. No disrespect to Tennessee, but...
Not fascinating.
Shaking in our boots.
Right. So Joy and I have been very lucky. We got the Dodgers in the World Series. We got the Lakers. We're getting a lot of this year. Brady's good. Rodgers good. Mahomes good. Like, we've been very lucky. Seattle, interesting, weird. That's every year. So here are my picks. We don't do a blazing five. Let's start with the AFC.
Bills at Chiefs.
All right, I just told you, there's a disturbing trend for Kansas City. 26th red zone offense since week 12. Bills, #1 red zone defense since week 12. Tells me it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. And it tells me there's a real possible upset. That Kansas City just settles for field goal, and Buffalo sneaks in the end and win. Here's why I like Kansas City. #1, the last time they played, Kansas City rushed for 250 yards. Buffalo had 80. The Bills only averaged 64 yards rushing this year in the playoffs. That's half of everybody else in the playoffs. They are a very one-dimensional team. I also like the fact that not only is Kansas City at home, but they have the most combined playoff experience of any of the playoff teams. The Bills have the least. I'm going to take Kansas City to win 28-23. I don't feel terribly strong about it. I think there is the potential for an upset, but I'm going to take Kansas City to win at home, more experienced. They have at least a semblance of a running game. But that red zone stat, I can't get past it. It's a real thing. I think this game's going to be lower scoring, potential lousy weather too than people think, meaning we could have a 24-20 game here, and everybody's going to be biting their nails in both cities. Let's go to the NFC.
Buccaneers at Packers.
All right, Green Bay, I think, is the best team left. They've had a different leading receiver in each of their last 3 games. So they're balanced throwing the ball. They had 188 yards rushing against the Rams, the most in a playoff game in the Aaron Rodgers era. So now Aaron's got his best rushing offense. I think they have the better offensive line. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, is very rare. You get all the upside with 11 total giveaways this season. That includes the playoffs. They just don't give you opportunities. How good teams often lose and better teams often lose is wasted opportunities or turnovers. They don't do either. They're the number 1 red zone touchdown offense in the NFL this year. They don't waste opportunities like Kansas City. They don't turn it over. And they dominate time of possession, number 1 in the NFL. So Brady's the way you lose. He won't get the ball much. Packers win. It's the game I'm betting. It's a 3-point spread. I think Green Bay wins and covers 33-26. I'll take Kansas City with no conviction, none, and I'll take Green Bay with lots of conviction. For the record, my favorite bet last week was Green Bay over the Rams. Rams came hobbling in, and I just said I struggled to see how they could win. AB is out for Tampa. That is not a helper. That he created, if not, you could use him as a decoy, and he was advantage. AB has become a real part of the offense in the last month. He's out. Doesn't help. He had a good game against Washington, some nice plays last weekend as well. All right, so one of the things, I've seen a lot of this in my life, in my broadcasting business. It's a mistake that a lot of people make. You hire somebody, it doesn't work out, and then you overcompensate as a company and you go the opposite way. I think the Jets hiring Robert Saleh, he may work, but he's the opposite of Adam Gase. And there had to be something you were attracted to Adam Gase about. Gase was moody, dark, didn't communicate, low energy. Robert Saleh is the opposite. Detroit did the same. Matt Patricia, kind of heavy set, more of a brainiac, not real. And they went and got a pro wrestler in Dan Campbell. James Bond did this. You remember it was Pierce Brosnan, who was very gadgety, very gadgety and finesse. And then they went out and got Daniel Craig, and he's running through fences. And that doesn't mean that the James Bond wasn't great with both, but they said, okay, this is here. We're going to go the opposite way. And I've seen companies do this my whole life. And so when I watched Detroit yesterday, I was taken back, Dan Campbell's press conference, I was taken back by, they just went and got the opposite of Matt Patricia. And my takeaway is, well, there was something about Matt Patricia you liked, and it was probably that he's really, really smart. And so here was the Dan Campbell press conference, and I do believe press conferences and your first press conference for a president, I thought Biden's inauguration speech was very strong. He's kind of set the tenor of the presidency. Whether you like him or not, voted for him or not. I thought it was very strong. And Adam Gase's first press conference, not good. Here was Dan Campbell. I don't think this is great.
And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing, all right? That's going to be the mentality.
I just do not believe if you take the 5 or 6 best coaches in the NFL, that would look like their press conference. Sean McVay, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, Andy Reid would not be talking about biting kneecaps. I think if you look at the great coaches of all time, Don Shula wouldn't do that. Jimmy Johnson, Bill Walsh, Belichick wouldn't do that. But things happen. But I do think when you hire a new coach, you should make corrections but not overcorrect. And it felt like they wanted a player and an alpha and a tough talking and a big energy guy who was the opposite of Matt Patricia, and I thought it was a miss. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'll say it again. Press conferences do matter. There was a guy named Howard Dean. People thought he had a chance to be president, and then this happened.
Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
I'm not voting for him. Press conferences matter. Brandon Staley, new coach of the Chargers, joining us next. Jersey Mike's. Joy and I don't mean to brag, but we get freebies on Wednesday. Pow in your face, people who don't. You could. All you have to do is get in your car or call, and they deliver. DoorDash it. They're great. Jersey Mike subs. I mean, the cheesesteaks, chicken cheesesteak. I've had that before. It's pretty good. The fresh bread, the fresh produce. They don't put this stuff in bags. They slice the tomatoes and the onions and the lettuce every morning. Everything, the fresh produce, sliced, cut, cared for every morning from scratch. You can taste the freshness. A relentless commitment to quality. Highest quality of meats. Every sub, every one, never pre-sliced or packaged. Jersey Mike subs are made authentically. Piled high, fresh toppings. Also, the juice, red wine vinegar.